killing you, but you're making it
What the
very tempting.
Welcome back to a bonus episode of This is the Wayseekers. Today we're reacting to the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer, which we've been patiently waiting for a while.
Finally.
Yes, finally. I think both Scotty and I are super excited for Bad Batch Season 3 and seeing everything conclude. Scotty, how excited are you to finally get to watch this trailer?
I'm like stressed and very excited because I don't know what to expect. We've talked about it before. We both love Star Wars animation.
Yes.
So like it's been a drought. So I'm so ready for this, but also very nervous because I don't know what to expect.
Yes. Well, then without further ado, let's just get right into it because I can't hold in my excitement any fucking longer. All right.
Hold on. We've got troopers up top.
Solo, like the train heist a little bit.
Not exactly a stealth exit, boys.
Oh, see.
Oh man.
I thought that the end of the war
Rex.
would mean an end to
We love
losing
Rex.
all
That was
of
a
our
given,
brothers. I was wrong.
Oh, why did
Oh.
that in
We
there?
can't just walk away. Not with the Empire imprisoning the kid.
Oh,
my god.
oh, they look rough.
Secure her in a cell.
They're going through it.
Omega's been waiting for us a long time.
I hope this means Crosshair Omega team up.
It's not over yet.
Ooh, February 21st.
That's soon.
To secure
Oh, Palpatine.
Whatever is needed to accomplish this goal.
Is that Sam Witwer again, I wonder?
Oh, even the cinematography looks like a big step up from the last two seasons. Holy shit. Fennec.
Fennec, Cad Bane.
Oh, they're bringing everybody together.
Give us a real challenge.
Oh god.
Big monsters, let's go.
Everyone down! We're not big on following orders.
I wasn't
Oh, man.
planning on killing you, but you're making it
What the
very
fuck?
tempting.
Not the
Oh.
yellow saber.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god.
Ah,
Scotty,
Jesus Christ.
Scotty, you are the biggest Asajj Ventress fan I know. How do you feel?
Overwhelmed. It's so funny because literally I posted in my Discord earlier and it's that picture of like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni posted up and it's like when they're about to retcon your favorite Star Wars book and I'm like, of course immediately I'm like, Ventress with the hair and the
I'm
saber.
dead.
And then I'm like, oh, but she's not dead, which I'm happy, but I'm like, oh, are we retconning this book?
Right.
Oh, God.
So I will say, for me, as exciting as that was, like still seeing her was still super exciting for me. I got spoiled on Twitter for that because, of course, the first thing I see is Asajj Ventress is returning and not the Bad Batch trailers out. You know how people are on Twitter.
Yeah.
So like you said, the biggest thing is like we know she died in Dark Disciple. That was like the whole point of the book was to give her conclusion, right?
Yeah.
So you'd be disappointed, right, if that was like
It's really tough because I really like the way her story ends in Dark Disciple, but the selfish part of me didn't want her to die because I want to see like the journey that she goes through in the book. I want to see how she continues life after that journey. And I am hopeful that kind of like with a lot of the other untold Clone Wars arcs, like with the Kashyyyk arc and with the Bad Batch arc itself, where they've kind of taken from those arcs and still implemented some of the story but just changed some things around. So I'm
Right.
hopeful that oh my god, I'm hopeful that parts of Dark Disciple are still canon, but then I'm like,
So
"Oh, but what parts are gonna be canon?"
So here's what I have to say about it. The
Yeah.
StarWars.com, they released a little article about the trailer, and they do say in here basically, we love Asajj Ventress. She's a character that we've been wanting to tell stories about, and he makes clear that her return will honor the prior tales, including the book in which the character apparently perished. And Brad Raw, the supervising director, says, "We don't want to spoil anything, but want fans to know that any new storytelling with Ventress will align with the events of Star Wars Dark Disciple."
I'm so overwhelmed.
I
I'm like,
know.
"Oh my god, that" they put that article out for me,
Yeah.
clearly.
Uh-huh.
Um, damn, I'm so behind. This came out, what, like,
An
30
hour
minutes
ago.
ago, an hour ago. They've already
Mhm.
got an article out, they've already got a trailer out, and I have no idea, so I'm just, like, spouting this shit off the top of my head. Oh, I was just talking about this on Twitter too because I know you saw my post and it was Tales of the Jedi, and I just put Asajj Ventress in all
Uh-huh.
capital letters, and people were talking underneath it, and it kind of blew up a little bit. Like I think it got over 2,000 views or whatever the fuck they call them. Which for
Mhm.
me, I'm like, that's kind of a lot.
Uh-huh.
So I guess I'm not the only one, but some of the people were commenting underneath, being like, "Yeah, I loved the book, but I'm nervous. Like, I hate that she died in a book." And I know that's a
Mhm.
big critique. It didn't bother me. But something that
Yeah.
I had mentioned in thinking of if we were to see her again, I was like, I'd really love to see her still, in the mindset and in the journey that she went through in the book, but
Mhm.
and not even with Quinlan. I don't want her to be with him anymore because I feel like that part of her life is over. That part of his life is over. And
Mhm.
I kind of want to see her helping him with the hidden path.
Right?
I want her to be still like an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that would make a
so
lot more sense for her character. But yeah, like in terms of her death, I've always felt conflicted about it because like it is nice to like have an ending for the character, but at the same time, it's similar feelings to like how I feel about like Ben Solo or a lot of these characters that get redeemed, but especially for Asajj Ventress,
exactly.
the abuse that Asajj Ventress has gone through, and in Dark Disciple, her kind of overcoming that, and we see her overcoming her abuse from Dooku in the Clone Wars and such. So for
Yeah.
her to just die shortly after, not my favorite thing in Star Wars. I can't lie.
Well, it's funny because I've always kind of thought if they were to bring her back, like it's funny because we watched this in Ahsoka where Ahsoka's kind of reborn through water.
Mm-hmm.
And Ventress, when she was buried, Obi-Wan and Quinlan, like, I can't remember what they called the water, but they like buried her in the water of life on Dathomir. And not
Mm,
only is it called the water of life,
right.
but I was like, she was buried on Dathomir in the water of life. So they could do some Night Sister shit and bring her
Yeah.
back. On
That's
top
kind of
of
my
that,
thought process is Night
yeah, and
Sister
like
magic.
on top of that, it's just like that was kind of what I always thought could happen, and I could very well see that being the case here. And if they say they're going to honor the
Mhm.
story of Dark Disciple, I imagine there's going to be some funky shit. And I'm not sure if I did see a shot, and because it was quick when they were doing lots of shots in the trailer, but I couldn't tell if I saw a shot of Dathomir or not.
Mhm. I
Um,
am
I'm
not 100% sure.
It probably wasn't. Omega, like, has new hair too, which
Yeah.
I'm very into. It's kinda cunt.
Yeah.
Um, which is funny because we see her with her old hair,
Mhm.
and then after we see the new hair, Crosshair looks real worse for wear.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
They both look
Palpat
like shit. Like
yeah.
but like I
I
said,
mean,
I hope that that means that there's a team up between the 2 and that Crosshair is coming back. I need it. I need to see Crosshair coming back, and if you're gonna put Asajj Ventress in here, maybe a theme of this season is going to be redemption.
well, I could definitely see that, though, personally, I think Crosshair is going to sacrifice himself for Omega and not make it out alive, and I
Mhm.
think that for him, that would be the ultimate redemption.
Yeah.
Because I just I don't see Crosshair making it out of the series alive.
Yeah, again, for me, like I think you're right, but I think for me, again, it goes back to the whole thing of how many times are we going to see a character get redeemed and then have to die? You know what I mean?
That's true. I
Like
don't know.
I want to see a redemption story where they get to live happily ever after and actually get to live through their redemption, actually make things right instead of
Well,
the cop out of I
we're
did a good
getting
thing
the
and bye, I'm out.
we're getting the Asajj Ventress redemption story, and I'd much prefer that one than a Crosshair one. If I'm just being completely honest, but is
But
anyone surprised?
who says
No.
we can't have both?
Like the
Nothing.
ponytail guy. You can have both.
Exactly. Exactly. But I mean, there's so much cool stuff in this trailer. Obviously, I love seeing Rex all the time. Rex
Yeah.
being in this show is amazing. But it also makes me worried because, like, seeing Rex so entangled with the Bad Batch, obviously the Bad Batch aren't in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess they could have just split off or whatever. But, it makes me worried, like, about the future of these characters. Where do they end up to where they're not in any future rebellion stories? You know what
Well,
I mean?
that's true because when in thinking of Rex's relationship with the Rebels crew and with the rebellion in general, and now that we know he's very entangled with the Bad Batch, I could totally see him have calling on the Batch to help with something with the rebellion. And there's still places to do that because Rex
Mhm.
isn't hugely involved in
Right.
Rebels, as much as like the Ghost crew. Um,
Right.
so I think there's ways that they can be weaved in and out of that story, but I'm also okay if they just go back to Pabu.
Yeah, and just live happily ever after. So what do you think about the fate of Tech? You think he's coming back in this season or he's perished?
I love Tech. He's one of my favorite members of the batch, but I want him to be dead.
Mm,
Only because there needs to be stakes. Members of the
impermanence,
batch
yes.
have to die,
Mhm.
unfortunately. Was Tech my first choice? No. Personally, Hunter or Wrecker for me because I'm connected with them the least.
Mm. Oh, wow. Hot
um,
take.
yeah, I guess, like, everybody loves Wrecker, but, like, take him or leave him. I think it would wreck the batch, no pun intended, if Hunter
Yeah.
was the one, though, to go, because he's,
Mhm.
like, the dad and the heart and the leader. But I think somebody had to go, like, the batch can't stay together forever. They're
Right.
they're, like, on the run.
Mhm.
If we boil it down, they've been on the run.
Yeah.
So the Empire is trying to find them and get rid of
Right.
them. They've got Omega, but they're not going to let, these rogue clones just off doing their own thing. So it makes sense
Mhm.
that some of them won't make it out. And
Yeah.
I I won't be upset if Tech did survive. But I would prefer that he be dead based off of the story that was told in season 2. I would hate to see and this could be a route that they go where Tech is not dead, but it's like an Echo situation where
Right.
they've recovered his body and have been experimenting on him. We could see that go into like the Death Trooper or
Yeah.
like a Dark Trooper prototype because we know there's different stages of those Dark Troopers.
We did see in the trailer that shot of a newer looking it almost looks like a continuation of like the armor that Crosshair has worn and kind of his group in season
Oh,
1.
okay, yeah.
It kind of looks like they put some importance on whoever that is. So what if that is Tech and they've like controlled him somehow, put the chip back or something.
Oh, for sure, they could totally do that, and his mind is basically a computer already. So,
Yeah.
I would
Poor
hate to
Tech.
see that happen to him, though, because it was heartbreaking with Echo and, like, rewatching the Bad Batch arc of Clone Wars Season 7 and seeing, like, what they did to Echo and, like, how messed up he was, and, like,
Mhm.
I mean, he still has an implant on his head. He still has a scomp link for an arm.
Right.
So and did we see much of Echo in this trailer?
No, I don't think so. He's always one of those characters that seems to get like a back seat within this show, which is a little sad because when he came back in Clone Wars, I remember being like Echo, like,
I know.
but I'm sure maybe he'll get a lot more. Like I'm pretty sure he was in that opening sequence with the heist that was going on. So
People are gonna complain the heist episode. They're gonna be like, "Oh, this is filler. Nothing's happening. We want
whatever.
Palpatine. We want Ventress." That'll probably be me. I'll be waiting for the Ventress episodes because I would like to think there's gonna be more than one.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think though about Palpatine looking like he might have a bigger presence in this? We actually see him at Mount Tantiss.
I think it makes total sense because what I really want to see here is some sort of clone rebellion. Like
Mm,
we always hear stories of like the rebel cells that all came together in the end and formed the rebellion. I want to see the clones path with that. And so it
mhm.
would be really cool to kind of see that to see Palpatine's reaction to that, to see Palpatine watch it. Because if you think about it, we always see these acts of rebellion, but we never get to see the man's reaction to it, like
Yeah, that's true.
so it would be kind of cool to like if it took place on Mount Tantiss for him to be there and be like, "Oh, fuck." I think it'd be
That
really
makes
cool.
that makes me wonder because if a rebellion were to happen while he was there.
It probably won't end well for them, but
Oh, no, of course it wouldn't, because I imagine they'd fucking lock all the doors and trap them in a room and fucking gas them or some shit.
yeah.
Because they're maniacal, fascist, like, disgusting people, and I
Mhm.
imagine they do something like that to the clones, but it seems like the clones that are left too are very much under like imperial reign, and they're just doing their thing. Like all the
Mhm.
commando clones, we haven't seen a ton with them, but
Right.
they very much seem engulfed in the machine of the empire. I
Mhm.
know we've seen people like Hauser, and was it Gregor that we saw in season 2,
Yeah.
uh, who was trying to escape Mount Tantus. So there's still clones that are active. We don't know what happened with Cody.
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah, but I think like it'll all come down to being able to let the clones know, because if you think about it, a lot of them still don't know that they have a chip and that they were controlled.
yeah,
And I
because I
think
guess that's what Rex and Echo's big mission was in season
yeah,
2 when they left.
exactly. So I think that kind of revelation for the clones just would be the catalyst to like set them off and be like, "Fuck these assholes." Like,
I could see that, and it did look like there was actually a lot more prisoners or
mhm,
experiments probably,
right.
in those scenes of, like, Omega and Crosshair, like, kinda crossing paths in the hallway in Mount Tantus. There's other people that are in there, and that's
Mhm.
kind of my thought to where maybe Crosshair and Omega will try to escape during a rebellion, and it'll come to a
100%.
point where Crosshair has to sacrifice himself for Omega to be able to make it out.
Yeah. Sad, sad, sad. Like, obviously, I don't want to see it, but you know, it's Star Wars, and we're not gonna get out of this season without crying about something. So,
Oh, I'm gonna be crying in a Ventress episode. Like, I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna cry at some point. I already know
yeah,
it. I think I was too overwhelmed to, shed a tear
yeah.
this time because I was just like,
I have to say, I wish I didn't have the captions on, because like it would have been way
"Oh,
cooler to like see her face and that be like your first reaction. Because for me, I didn't see her face or anything or know what she looked like. Again, I just saw Asajj Ventress is in it, so I was like, what does this mean? Like, I didn't know, because I don't know when Dark Disciple actually takes place. So
it
I
it's in the final years of the Clone Wars."
uh
Because it takes place before episode 3, like, the
oh,
events of episode 3. So, like,
mm,
Ventress dies before Revenge of the Sith, well, supposedly, and,
right.
like, Quinlan is canonically on Kashyyyk during Revenge of the Sith.
Mm,
So and he has to go through a whole, like, reintegrating him into the Order because he went to the dark side and then
right.
tried to lie about it and then got found out. So
Uh
some shit happens post that, and then just the Clone Wars ending in general. Um,
right.
I don't I guess it would have to take place before season 7 then. I think it was supposed to be a part of season so I don't know, it gets
Yeah.
murky.
Yeah, it was definitely meant to be part of whatever before the show got canceled. So,
Yeah.
but like you said, I really do like the fact that even though they're obviously not able to just straight up adapt some of those old arcs because of the timeline. It is cool to see that they are clearly like, we saw Kashyyyk, and Gunji and whatnot
Yeah.
in some of these episodes in the Bad Batch, and obviously we know that the Bad Batch was supposed to have a whole Kashyyyk arc in the Clone Wars. So
Mhm.
it's things like that where it's like, it's really nice to kind of see those things come full circle as a Clone Wars fan, and get to live them out, even if it's not 100% the way it was intended. So
Yeah, and honestly, I'm just happy that when I post pictures of Ventress now and I wanna see her with her yellow lightsaber, that I won't have to use the same one picture that people don't even
right.
realize is her. Uh,
Yeah.
so that'll be great, and then on top of that, just, like, I feel so validated.
Because you didn't
Thank
ever expect to see Ventress again, did you?
in my hopes and dreams, I did. Uh, but, n no, I didn't really expect it to happen. I was like, "I'm gonna complain about it all the time on Twitter and bring
Mhm.
her up to make her relevant, but maybe I'll finally get my Black Series Ventress with the yellow lightsaber that I've been wanting since I read the
Oh.
goddamn book."
Yeah. I mean, people are excited about this. So I think that we're going to see a huge Ventress renaissance, and something to consider too. I mean, I think that we've talked about this is like, you don't really want to see her in live action because she's an animated character. We've seen kind of the way they've adapted animated characters, and the trust isn't exactly there. But this does kind of open the doors if she makes it out of the Bad Batch to like be appearing in some of these
I
later
mean,
years.
here's the thing, though. Why would they bring her into the Bad Batch season 3 and retcon her death, essentially, to then have her die in the Bad Batch?
Yeah, it wouldn't make much sense, I don't think.
No, they're
So,
gonna leave it open-ended. She's probably gonna meet up with them. They're gonna have a little mission or 2 episodes, and then they'll go their separate ways. But yeah,
mhm.
I feel like I've just talked about her the whole time and not the actual show.
I mean, they don't show much. I mean, obviously, a lot of the things we saw, we kind of expected. There's gonna be more
Yeah.
missions with the Bad Batch. We know that they're gonna try to be saving Omega, and Crosshair is gonna be involved in that mix somehow.
So, you know what's funny? How they always say that Ventress was a parallel or like a foil to Ahsoka in the Clone Wars.
Hmm.
And there's been speculation since the Bad Batch was created about
Mm,
if Ahsoka's gonna be shoehorned into it. And I mean, there's still there's still a chance it could happen.
right,
But I think it's really cool that instead of seeing her, we're getting her like parallel or her foil
right.
in the sequel series to the series that they were introduced in.
Uh huh.
Um, and
Yeah.
getting Ventress instead. I like that a lot, and like you said, that kind of opens the doors on where her story could go. I don't expect her to be like a good guy and a part of the fucking Rebel Alliance, but
Mm,
like kind of like I mentioned with helping with the path, I could see a
yeah.
situation where like sometimes she helps out if she feels like it, but
Hmm.
I imagine she's just kind of doing her own thing.
Yeah. And she deserves it. I hope that whatever happens with her, it's happiness. It's, not abuse, but it's Star Wars, so can't
I'm
expect the
real
best.
So true, and something I'm worried about is, like I said, if they did retcon their death, I was just posting about this on Twitter. Are they gonna undo the journey and growth that she went through in the book?
Mhm.
So, I still think she's gonna be snarky, but I would like to see a little bit of not a huge change in character, but like little things that are different
Uh,
than maybe how she was before. More akin to the Ventress we saw in like season 5 of the Clone Wars, where she was literally helping Ahsoka and Anakin during Ahsoka being framed for the bombing of the Jedi Temple.
mhm.
So,
Yeah,
and thinking
totally.
about it that way, I really do think that they'll continue with that side of her and not totally like
Yeah,
here's Ventress. She doesn't care about anything but herself. Like, I feel
right.
like she'll still be a bit selfish, but she'll easily be broken down and be like, "God damn it, I guess I'm gonna do the right thing."
Yeah, totally, totally. So, yeah, February 21st, we're getting a 3-episode premiere, 3
Oh,
episodes on
shit.
day 1, and
Okay.
then this will take us all the way to May 1st. There's only, I think, like, midway through, they're doing a 2-episode release, but other than that, it's gonna be 1 episode a week,
Okay.
and we'll get to discuss it every single week. So make sure to tune back in to see Scotty's reaction and tearful episode of Asajj Ventress' return.
Yep.
It's gonna be real exciting to get to discuss it. And like I said, we're so excited. Obviously, a little sad. It's bittersweet that it's ending, but I think we've talked
Yeah.
about before. It's nice that we are going to get a conclusion. So
An
it's not like,
official end, not a
yeah,
cancellation. Let's try to wrap up what we can.
yeah, exactly. So very excited for it. Any more thoughts on the trailer before we head out?
I just want to hear everybody else's thoughts. So make sure
Yes,
you tweet at us, comment on this episode, and let us know what you thought of the trailer. Because, I mean, that's the best part about it is when we get to speculate with everybody.
100%, 100%. That's why we do this.
To make sure that you never miss any of our episodes going forward, and especially our Bad Batch coverage, make sure you follow us at wayseekerspod or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, may the force be with you.
Bye.